right, howdy, welcome. So one of the most frequent questions I get asked is, Jonathan, how do you sharpen a knife? And I love answering it, and I love sharpening knives. I think that knowing how to sharpen a knife is kind of an empowering trait that it just kind of feels like a lost art in some ways, that maybe your grandfather knew how to sharpen a knife really well, but you can't do it worth a lick. And trust me, it took me a while to teach myself and to kind of develop some tricks and trade secrets and whatnot, but wanted to show you guys real quick how I do it. I've already showed you in one of my other videos on bar set maintenance that one of my favorite things to do when it comes to the maintenance of your knife is to steel your knife. Get a good kitchen steel. Usually they come in a kitchen set. If not, just go pick one up. I think this one was like 10 bucks. And you're going to maintain the life of your knife just by steeling it. Knives go dull generally because the edge actually folds over itself. That's generally what happens. And you can actually look down the edge of a knife, and if you see that it's reflecting light, you know that you've got a dull knife in certain spots. Well, just running it on a steel will actually unfold that and realign and straighten your blade. And so that's a great way to do that. Now, you still need to sharpen it every once in a while. I am a big fan of just traditional Novaclite, which is Arkansas stone. This is my stone. This is a big custom-made two-sided Arkansas stone. You won't be able to find this in a store. This is two-sided. This is really what would be called the coarse side, and then this is the fine side. They call this soft Arkansas stone, and then this is hard or surgical black in this case. You don't have to get you a big old fancy one. Here's one that I bought, I think for 20 bucks or something. It's also two-sided, and it gets the job done just fine. As a part of my sharpening setup, I highly recommend these right here. These are called bench cookies. They are a non-slip elevated platform. Wonderful addition to your sharpening setup. I think I bought these on Amazon, and they were worth every dollar, whatever I paid for them. So you've got your stone, you've got your non-slip surface, you got your knife that you're going to sharpen, you've got your oil. Very important that you use a good sharpening stone oil. Don't use WD-40 or something like that. That won't work. And then you also need a strop. Stropping is kind of the final process, and I'll explain that in a second. But hopefully you can see here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to put a little bit of oil on this stone. This knife is in good shape, so I'm starting on the fine side. If it was a damaged blade or heavily used, I would start on the coarse side to get it where I need it. Generally speaking, I like to leave my knife in the same hand as I'm doing this. Some guys only do one direction. I like to kind of go back and forth, to each his own. But generally, you're going to come here, you're going to look at where your edge is making contact. I'll do it this way. You're going to look here and be able to see, actually you'll be able to see when you do that if you're beating up oil. If your oil is beating up as you're coming across, you have the right angle. The hardest part to sharpening is getting that angle. There's a trick to that somebody taught me years ago, and it's a black Sharpie. You take a black Sharpie and you just paint the edge of your knife. Then when you come and you bring that across, you'll be able to look down at your knife and go, oh, I didn't take the black off, so that means your angle was off. So I highly recommend that if you're having trouble with your angles. The other thing that you got to feel for is you got to get really good at touching the edge, because it's really all going to be feel. You're going to feel that burr develop as you start this motion. Count your strokes, and then you're going to feel that edge, and I'm already feeling it build up because this knife is in good condition. And you're going to switch directions, count the same strokes, and you can feel it building up. This is one of the things that I love about 52-100. It sharpens like a dream. It just does not take any time whatsoever to put a hair popping edge back on this knife. Once I can feel it, I can actually feel it sticking onto the stone, and then it releases. And then as I'm finishing it up, I do single strokes into the cutting edge. And this will give me a very, very nice edge. So let's switch this out with my strop. This is just a piece of wood with a thick piece of leather on it. And all you're gonna do now is you're just knocking the burr off that you built up. Just like this. And that's looking pretty good. Let's clean that off. Let's just see if it'll pull some hair. Oh yeah, I don't know if y'all can see that in the video or not. My wife's gonna be mad at me. She doesn't like it when I do this. Anyways, that is how I sharpen a knife. If that video seemed a little bit oversimplified, it was. I'm trying to keep it to the point. But I welcome questions. Please shoot me an email, give me a phone call. I love chatting about this kind of stuff. Knife sharpening is very important, and I love sharing my tricks with people who want to learn. So enjoy.